Hey, welcome back to my studio. So the last few weeks I've been working really hard to downsize the amount of Christmas crafting supplies I own. And so this week is a little bit more fun. I actually get to create some junk journals with the supplies I have. So I'm super excited for this. I know a few of you are thinking it, so I'll say it. Do I skip over Halloween and Thanksgiving? Yes, I absolutely do when it comes to my business, because as a small business owner, I only have the bandwidth really to do certain holidays. And so I tend to do 4th of July, I tend to do Christmas, and anybody that makes something, so like I'm making this by hand, it's ideal to have the finished product posted by September, like the end of September at the latest. So I'm already a little bit behind because making junk journals is kind of labor intensive and I have to kind of chip away at it. It takes me a really long time to complete one, like up to 6 hours. So, but I like to enjoy the process, so I don't really like to rush myself. So I'm doing two, so I need 12 hours, but I'm going to have to chip away at this as the weeks go on because I can only realistically do about an hour a day and not every day. So I'll share with you little snippets as I go along doing this. And I also have a little surprise that I'm going to show you during this process that I'm actually really proud of and excited about, and it represents a brand new path that I'm headed down artistically. Definitely not a beer drinker ever, never was, but I found these at the thrift store and that image really spoke to me. And then this one's really distressed, but most of the other ones weren't this distressed, but they have the postcard on the back, which I just love that for the Christmas junk journals. I picked up this very vintage wrapping paper, probably 1960s if I had to guess, or at least it looks like it. And so I'm using some of these book pages because they're really nice weight and some of them are blank on the back. And so I'm going to add the wrapping paper to that to give it some stability and use these inside several of the journals. So here's this teddy bear wearing he's like dancing by the record player, and his hat very much resembles a Santa hat, even though it's not if you look closely. But I love the colors on this for a Christmas journal. I want to add book corners to this one because I do have book corners, and I came across all of these sort of flannel and wool fabrics I had in my stash. I'm actually going to sell, I had too much for myself, so I kind of like split it in half. I'm going to sell the other half, and I have found a green one. So I really like these plaids though. They're very festive and they're very wintry, and I just love plaid in general, especially for the holidays. So I'm just going to figure out about how much I want the spine, like how thick I want it to be. I'm not really going to over decorate this book because I like the image on the front. I just want to add this plaid to the spine and I think the book corners, and then I think that'll be good for this one. So I'm trying not to over design things. I want to leave it open to whoever receives it for them to be able to further personalize it. So I am practicing restraint, and this is something I'm constantly working on with my designs. Not over designing, but less is more, so that it gives the person more options that receives the journal. And I don't use a ton of glue when I'm making the insides of the journals because, again, I want a lot of the stuff to be easily removed if they want. But for things like the outside, I go heavy on the glue because the outside is going to see a lot more wear than the inside, a lot more wear and tear. I'm leaving the edges a little bit extra around the edges because my plan is once the glue dries to go and fray the edges, because the one already has the really nice frayed side and I want the other 3 edges to be frayed too, if possible. So now on the inside of this one, the pages are actually sewn in, which makes this a lot easier in my opinion because I just have to snip out the threads and the pages come right out. And then the rest of the pages stay in. So I'm trying to show that, but it's hard to see. I don't think I got close enough here. I thought this was so funny. The author, he literally looks like a lot like a teddy bear. He very much resembles a teddy bear. Is it just me? Anyway, I like a lot of the illustrations in this book, so I do have to get rid of some of the pages though, because I need to free up space so that when I'm designing it, I have room and the recipient of the journal has room to add more to it. And you know, journals can get bulky pretty quick, so especially I like to add fabric and 3D elements to journals, and I think a lot of people do. So I'm taking out about a third of the pages, and that'll leave plenty of room to add things in, like tip-ins, flip-ups, all this stuff, pockets, journal tags, you know, the works. So I'm not going to bore you with me cutting all these pages. I'll do that off camera and we'll move on to the next thing. All right, what are your thoughts on this? One of my mom's neighbors let us go through her house and take anything we wanted. She didn't want any of this stuff. I took this box of photos because I thought that it would be really cool to put some of these in journals. I mean, look at this. It's like a perfect, I just love some of these photos. I just do. And is this like crossing the boundary, putting people's personal pictures in a journal? Like, let me show you a few. So a lot of them like this I wouldn't be interested in using, but then ones like this I would absolutely want to use. I just think they're really cool. I don't think I would want to use people's like children, but some of the ones with the adults and they're like all dressed up, I just think they're really cute. But then also some of the books that I have, like this is so cute. Look at her little luggage and her outfit and how the edges of the photo are sort of like that sort of shape. I don't know. I'm just really drawn to these. So look at her hair. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Have I crossed the boundary here? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to kind of briefly look through these and pull out any that I think could go in the journals I'm working on. But if not, then I'm just going to kind of box this off and look later when I have a little bit more time. I love that. Obviously, I don't need this many. And I was thinking I could even put like little lots for other people. But I was like, okay. When I looked on eBay, there was like a lot of old photos listed and not a lot sell. So I kind of figured that wasn't the best idea. Some of them I can just go ahead and get rid of. See, I think this could go actually in like a kid's journal, a baby boy one. I just think that that's really... Or like this one. You know what? I'm putting this one in one of the Christmas ones. He's wearing a little winter outfit. I'm going for it. But yeah, I realize that other people aren't really interested in these for the most part, I don't think. I think they could just add a nice touch to some of the journals. Let me just show you really quick some of the supplies I'm planning to use. So... see those little pine cones? I think these could be cute on a tassel. I've got a few wax seals I did here with hot glue. This one I got from Hobby Lobby and it just cracks me up. It's like the the nutcrackers, but the fact that they have bell bottoms on, I don't know. I love that. I want to incorporate the 2 and the 5 as giant journal cards, so I'll cover the back. And then I want to include some envelopes in this sort of brown manila style. I love these 1940s illustrations, and so I'm going to include some of these. And this is another thing that inspires me. So I believe I already photographed most of those. And then I have some more just like standard pages. I just love these. I include these in most all of my journals, but I love it especially for Christmas. And these cute little book pages. This is from a book I had. Me and my son really love this book, so I actually saved a few like for kind of like a memento for I can put in my own journal to remember that time. And then I want to use some of the illustrations too. And here's some pages I already sort of have in the works. I designed these last Christmas and I ran out of room, so I'm going to incorporate them into some of the journals. It might not all stay together, but it will make it into a journal. And then I think I already showed you that. And then here's all the extra pages I cut out. And this actually works because these are very nice quality paper. So I'm going to use these to back things and to like collage with. I think he's cute enough to like include in the journal because he looks Christmassy to me. All right, let me get started. Okay, so here's the other journal covers. I added this cute little corduroy Santa pocket to this one. And there's the quilted one that I've shown you, I think in the last video. And that placemat, we'll get to that in a second. I wanted to use this fabric because look at the lace edging. It's actually a vintage robe, my vintage robe. I'm sacrificing it for this journal. And if you can see the sort of, it's like a satiny shine, and it just has this nice pattern that's gonna work really good in this journal cover on the inside, and I can use that tie closure. I'm gonna use these wrapping papers. The two on the right are modern, both I think from Hobby Lobby. The plaid one and this poinsettia one I thrifted. It's not to say they're vintage, but I did thrift both of those. I just really like them for these journals. So I'm going to be adding these to pages and probably for pockets and belly bands too. Maybe even some of the tags, because I haven't decorated all the tags, so lots to work with. I already backed some of these because these 1940s illustrations are very flimsy, and so the book pages being very sturdy, this works out, and then I can add something onto the back. I already added the snowman wrapping paper to some of these tags. I like how these came out. I just really like that wrapping paper. It's so much fun. And those are going to go really good with the placemat journal, which now I have 4 journals going, and I'm supposed to only be doing 2. It's not to say I'll finish all 4, but I just kind of get in the groove and I get going. So I added fabric to some of these tags that I already had halfway started. That one I put a playing card on it. Added the seal to this envelope just so you can easily open and close it. There's a little flip up inside this one, and I love that vintage music sheet fabric. And then I added some more of the fabric to this tag, and these are going in the journal, the traditional journal. And then I added a little lace to this one. Oh, one more. That's not my favorite. Look how much stuff I got out. This is why I can't have people over. I constantly have stuff out like this. I have to put so much stuff away just to look like I'm not a crazed lunatic. Crazed crafting lunatic. So these, I found that Santa at Hobby Lobby. This from an estate sale, the flower. But this placemat I got in an estate sale. It just dawned on me, this would be a perfect Christmas journal. So it's going to be like a wrap style journal. But I need, I'm going to make a hardcover to go inside. I don't think either of those are quite right for being on top of it, but I thought the Santa might go a little bit better than that. Well, I'm sure I'll find something. But look how good the snowman goes with that. I love that. So this is going to be more of a whimsical one. And I think I found the perfect thing. The crochet candy cane is going to go on this cover. I love this. This is turning into my favorite one. I didn't even know this was going to be a journal. Okay, so now I have the books constructed, the page layout, everything like that, the covers. So now is the very fun part. I get to decorate and add sort of graphics and embellishments to the journals. So a great time to get out ribbons, trims. In this case, and this is what I was referencing at the beginning of the video. Now I'm offering digital products, and I'm able to use these digital products to add to my junk journals. So I have currently 3 Christmas collections, and I just want to show you some of the different pages from the collections. Now, these are actually 12 by 12 pages, but what I do is I kind of collage them on, and I have lots of clip art too, but I collage them on to the 8.5 by 11 pages so that I can use it for how I want to use it. So for instance, I want these to be tag size, so I size them down and then I add things onto them. Like this isn't in the collection at all. This is just a little collage I put together, and the Santa. So not all of these are my digitals, and not all of them have come out, but like he's in my collection. And so I'll just leave a link to my brand new Etsy store if you want to see any of my digitals. But yeah, I'm just so happy with how these came out, and I really like making them. This is not part of my digitals, but this is vintage fabric I photographed, and I want to include this in my journals, so this is my way of like including that. This one has different elements of the different digitals. I love the little dogs wearing Christmas sweaters. And if you look closely, this is kind of like a quilted background with a quilted deer. And these, my son, these drive him crazy. Every time he looks at them, he's like, oh, those cookies look so good. I like the texture on them. So I will go ahead and get busy on decorating with these images, and I'm excited to add them to the journals. And I have lots of different styles here because I'm doing different journal styles, and so I think this will be really fun. Love the Rottweiler. And he comes as clip art. I just added him to this background, which this is a different, so these are 2 different files that I merged together. So this is a good example. This was my fault when I made my collage. I forgot to click transparent background, so I have an all black background. Just goes to show that even if you know what you're doing, mistakes happen. And here's the little Santa, little happy Santas. Another one that I messed up on. With the background. It's supposed to be white, but that's okay. I'm still learning. Like that little husky and bulldog. This is one that I'm in the progress of making. I'm doing a crochet collection, and then this is vintage fabric that I just photographed. This is obviously not part of my Etsy. I don't think that's legal, like photographing other people's stuff, but I know other shops do it, but I'm kind of doing like my own thing. But I like the idea of bringing those into journals that I'm working on, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. I'm excited, but I don't have any customers yet on Etsy, but I am hopeful because I'm really like pouring my heart into these digitals, and I really like making them. I really enjoyed making this sort of elf decorating the Christmas tree. I think that came out really good, and I like how vintage he looks. This is one where I photographed my vintage doily, and then I put it on this background, and this is one of my 12 by 12 images. The way I see that is I'm going to put a piece of cardstock behind it, or thicker paper. I'm going to back it on, and then I'm going to cut right here, and this is going to be a pocket, and that'll be on a page. And a lot of the littler ones I have cut in these rectangles because I want them, like this is a full-size image, but I have it cut down because I want it to be a pocket, a journal card. And then these I got all printed at FedEx, and then this one I printed at home, but then my printer is a very bad printer. I wouldn't recommend an Epson to anybody, but that's just my experience with it. Let me show you an example, hang on one second, of my like home printer versus FedEx. Now this one came out really good, but then my printer took a really bad turn. And I'm not saying I wouldn't recommend an Epson, like if I have a defective printer and I was able to get the issue resolved. I'm saying I wouldn't recommend an Epson because the customer service has been horrendous. And I haven't been able to get the issue resolved other than working directly with my credit card to get the issue resolved. So anyway, long story short, I want to show you. This is what the image looked like coming off my Epson. This, like, collaged image. That's 2 of my digitals just cropped. So this is what it's supposed to look like. This kind of wooden color. And this is what my printer put out. It's just a very big difference. And then we can also see the Santa to this Santa. Not as dramatic, but let's put them next to each other. You see a lot of that, the red is just like this very, it looks in person like a brownish red, when this is more the red I was after. This one just looks brighter and exactly what I was going for. And we can see it on the penguin too. There's the penguin. And then even though he's on a black background, you can still get the idea, I think. This one's more dramatic in person, but the scarf just looks so much better. It's got the bright red, the black. On that one, this black looks really, really faded. And it's actually coming across better on camera than in real life, but this one looks 1,000% better. So I'm just going to outsource the printing until I get a reliable printer. But I'm so excited to create with these, and I will come back and show you the decorated journals, and we'll do flip throughs of the different styles.